time I felt free.
On previous records that I've done, I've always put kind of quite a bit of instrumental work in there, and this time round I didn't really want to do that. But I had a very kind of strong sense of what I wanted the record to feel like lengthwise. I wanted two really defined sides, like a side A and a side B, which both worked as kind of pieces. And just to kind of set that off, I wanted two really incidental, short intro pieces to kind of break it up into two kind of pieces. That one to me was just a nice way to tee up the record and like kind of let it all kind of flow, you know. It creates, set a scene kind of thing really, which is, I think it serves the record well doing that.
Why don't you feel me?
I think as soon as I really kind of got my head around this track, I was instantly, I mean, I was like, it could be the first track on the record. Before I thought about instrument, it just got that feel on it. It kind of drew you into it, like the build of the song, getting your opening line to it, the whole kind of thing. Yeah, I'm like, okay, like the strings as well really kind of brought it alive. Like the string section on that, I thought came together fantastically. So yeah, you know, it just.
And we get Mark as well doing his little warbling in the background.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it was nice to have.
Yeah.
You know, Mark Lanning kind of come through and just, you know, that little kind of cameo, you know, nod of the, yeah. It's always a good time.
I loved it, yeah.
Yeah, to have Mark kind of do anything is always, you know, great. So, you know, I was incredibly happy when
he was passing the torch.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will be passed back. So.
I don't think he wants it back. Longest Day was like one of the very last things we did, right? And it changed completely from the initial kind of feel. I think initially we had like a more kind of, it was all strings, and then we had one of those moments of, again, in the studio where I was like, okay, well, I've got this idea for like a loud kind of Neil Young crazy horse guitar thing, and like a trashy drum like part to it to make it a very like, quiet, loud kind of track, which is something I'd not ever really done before. All of a sudden, it makes it like a really great kind of song.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about it. Like, I see, not what you were doing. I wasn't sure about what I was doing. You know, I kind of felt like I was just, you know, I just wasn't like convinced about it. And yeah, it came later on, but when everything was finally done musically, and the girls right, it made sense, you know. It was a proper song, kind of, and that's what I was nervous about. I was nervous about the fact that it was like it was a proper song. Yeah, it was like arrangement-wise and stuff like that. That's what I kind of, you know, it made sense. But like it was one of those tracks that I was like, is it too obvious? Is it too obvious what I'm doing? I'm too in the format of like songwriting territory here, you know. That would worry me a little bit, but only because throughout the work that we did together, I never felt like I was planning something, and this was the only track where I thought there was like a little plan going on.
I can feel the presence of God.
It came from a place of, like, lyrically for me, like, knowing and feeling something that's there in the universe, much bigger than me, that at the same time I'm pushed that away as much as I can because I want to control everything. And that's where Presence of God came from. It's like, quite often it's through, and this was musically where I was hearing this, you know, it's through other things outside of myself that I experience that you belong to something. So musically, when that happens, you know, and these words came out. I don't know, they just came out. suddenly get like a lighter moment, I think, and
Yeah.
you need it at that point. It's kind of like
it's quite an uplifting track.
Yeah.
We'd never done like a track like that before that was very much kind of sat and written on an acoustic guitar, and it's like those kind of three, what I class as like cowboy chords. Like it sounds like the kind of thing that somebody plays when they're sitting around a fire that only knows those three chords. You know, it's incredibly basic, simple, and again, it was keeping it really simple.
I knew you were just like me.
It was a very kind of guitar-oriented like track. Really simple chords, like very kind of just do that. I think it got to the point where we wanted to do something loud.
Yeah, and it had an arc that was, when I first heard what Rich was doing with his guitar, you know, yeah, it was, we were looking for that. We were looking for something that kind of like blew out the cobwebs a bit.
You bring in the back room, gone too far, too soon.